neither won't stop it. Calling of the sun. Like footsteps to the sea, they dance upon the rising sun. Thousand angels singing, Lord, it fills my soul. Louder and louder, I hear the engines roar. Faster and faster, echoes overturn. Tighter and tighter, on the lightning flash. Closer and closer, you know you're almost so great. And the whole again. Machines make their rounds, don't care they ever see the dawn. Like a peaceful flowing river, after the winter's come and gone. Yeah, I feel weak and dead, long little second song. The old lady at the wheel, holding roses and plants and thorns. Louder and louder, hear the ancients roar. Faster and faster, people's overturn. Tighter and tighter, on the lightning flares. Closer and closer, you know your wall is so great. And the whole again.
Greetings, good people. How are we doing this evening? Welcome to Old School Watch Party Sundays. It's me, Winning Reality, with Shelly, talking trash and truths. How you doing?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing awesome. Let's say hello to our peeps in the front row. Cool
Go
Gamer. How's it going? Daisy Girl. Welcome. Jacob Pete's my man. What's up? T-Rex Trucking. What's up, dude? All right, man. I hope you're having a good time. Oh, hey, Bellarex Cynics, how you doing? Bellarator, yeah, man. Hey, how's it going? Welcome to the Winter Circle, by the way, for everybody who got a membership like Memento Mori the other night. Welcome.
Yay.
So happy you guys are here. All right. Man, we got a great show in store for you tonight. Say hi, Shelly.
Mm-hmm. Hi, guys. Memento. Hey, what's up? Caitlin, I see you. You just made it in. So, yeah, we got a really good night tonight. He's going to be wound up, so you won't hear much from me because it's going to be mostly him just roaring. So
I don't know about that.
We'll see. Says that now. He says
right.
That now.
Oops, hello. Oh, let me get rid of that screen. And yeah, we're gonna I gotta find this other one here real quick. We're gonna start out this evening with a documentary from based on a book that was been put out called The Fluoride Deception. It's really like an interview, right? But it's done up into a documentary style thing where they got, you know, all the additional I have to just type this in here. Additional information and research and so on. Oh, there it is. Okay.
Madison Adams, hello.
I got it. All right. So we'll pull this up here and we'll start to get started. Hey, Madison Adams, how you doing? Welcome. All right. So glad to see all these people here tonight, man. We're gonna be rocking. I'm glad you guys are here. This is an important topic. These topics were big like 10 years ago, maybe longer, but I mean, we know about these, right? But the noise that was being made. Oh, that's your neighbor? Awesome.
Oh, Maddie. Hi, Maddie. Oh, that's exciting. Okay. So we got to do a really, really good job because she's here.
Oh, we will. Now these topics used to be a big deal 10 years ago, or more. And I really thought we were on our way to being to wiping these things out, right? And I don't hear much about them anymore. It's like everybody's kind of they got memory hold, and everybody forgot about.
Hello.
Okay, thanks. So our the importance of this is that
Okay.
our health is dependent upon our water and our food. We think what we put into our body, right? So these things are key to how we feel day in and day out, our mental and physical health. Yet these are things that are almost like afterthoughts in our day-to-day lives. Yeah, yep, exactly. We're gonna be diving into who all the bad players are, how they do it, what the bad things are, and what we can do about them. Because it's time to start pushing back again. It's time to start making noise about it again. And believe me, these topics are so sensitive that any political candidate that latches onto these will have a automatic boost in support, right? I think we're looking at like letter writing campaigns and demonstrations of a sort, like, make the people who produce the stuff eat what they produce, drink what they produce, right? That was a tactic used way back then. Some of the old school tactics to really shed light on it. I'll have to dig up and see if I can find any of the old videos where people had done this type of activism. But I think that's what it's going to come down to, because we need to raise hell. And at the end of today, we're going to look at the current push against our food supply and what they're trying to do to us. I added this to the title kind of on, I think over on Rumble now. I added to the title in my in the post that went out on Discord, right? The meat situation and bug food, right? That's going to be an addendum to this at the end, right? So we're going to have more than just the two documentaries. We're going to have that also, and it's going to be a good piece. So sit back, get your drinks, and get your snacks, because we are going to be diving right into these documentaries. Here we go. The first one's, of course, the shorter one. The middle one's going to be the longer one, and then the end will be shorter. There you have it. So
yes, he's hearing voices.
I'm hearing voices. Yeah, mine. There we go. All right. So the fluoride deception, hailed as a harmless chemical that would prevent tooth decay, new evidence has shows how fluoride could be linked to serious health problems. Now, this, of course, is not any medical advice. If someone mistakes it for that, they're crazy. But this is something that's actually in the water. Of course, it's illegal to actually force medication on anybody. So, God forbid someone was trying to do that through the water, right? This is from 2004, by the way. It's 29 minutes. Fluoridation was first advanced in the U.S. at the end of the Second World War. Proponents argued that fluoride in the water and toothpaste would help to prevent tooth and prevent decay. Over the following decades, fluoride was added to public water supplies across the county. Of course, I'm reading from the description of this book that can be purchased and read. While the benefits of fluoridation have been held to be unquestionable, accumulated evidence points to the frightening prospect that fluoride might have serious adverse things, and including things. Okay. So I'm not going to read too much of this, but we're going to listen to the documentary. And you guys ready? All right. 3, 2.
I'm ready. Let's go.
Fluoride science is corporate science. Fluoride science is DDT science. It's asbestos science. It's tobacco science. It's a racket.
In July of 2004, Christopher Bryson sat down and discussed the findings of his new book, The Fluoride Deception, with Paul Connett of the Fluoride Action Network. The Fluoride Deception was published by 7 Stories Press in May of 2004. The book is based on nearly 10 years of research by Bryson, an award-winning journalist and former producer at the BBC. In this interview, we asked Bryson to introduce us to some of the important individuals and institutions which have played a role in shaping public policy on the toxicity of fluoride and the purported safety of the controversial water fluoridation program.
In 1993, I was working at Rockefeller Center in New York as a radio producer for the BBC. And I got a call from London. There was a local water fluoridation battle in the north of England, in Leeds. And the producers, it was a daytime radio show. You and Yours was the name of the program. And the producer said, Chris, what do you know about fluoride? What do the Yanks think about fluoride? Is there an American angle? And it was a very, familiar request to me. Is there an American angle to the story? And I said, look, I don't know fluoride from a hole in the wall. I have no idea about fluoride, but let me make a few phone calls and see if I can't help you out. And my first call was to Ralph Nader in Washington. And I'm not sure why I called Ralph Nader, but look, it was a consumer issue. And Mr. Consumer, Ralph Nader, I thought, let's give him a call. And I got through, and he said, look, I don't know a great deal about water fluoridation, but I've never had terribly good feelings about it. Here are the names of a couple of scientists you ought to speak with. And he gave me the names of Dr. William Hersey, who then and now is a chemist at the Environmental Protection Agency, and Dr. Robert J. Carton. Bob Carton had been with EPA, but at that time was then over at the U.S. Army. And I went down to Washington and met with Dr. Hersey and Dr. Carton, and they explained to me that the safety standards for water fluoridation in this country are based on fraudulent science.
That's disturbing.
Fluoride defenders will say there's two stories. There's the industrial story and there's the dental story, and ne'er the twain shall meet. It's not true. The stories are braided very tightly and very profoundly, and they're braided from the beginning. The very first suggestion that fluoride be added to public water supplies was made by a researcher, Gerald Cox, at the Mellon Institute in Pittsburgh. Cox became interested in fluoride because of the suggestion of Francis Frary. That's the letter I uncovered. Francis Frary is the director of the aluminum laboratory for the Aluminum Company of America. He is very concerned about fluoride pollution around aluminum plants. He's very concerned about what the fluoride is doing to the workers inside these aluminum plants. But his suggestion to Gerald Cox is to look at fluoride's dental effects. And it's upon the basis of that suggestion that Gerald Cox makes his proposal to add fluoride to public water supplies. Right at the very source of the stream, you find the aluminum industry.
Oh boy, metals.
I don't get how they got away with that for so long, and they're still getting away with it.
Apathy.
Cox's suggestion that we add fluoride to public water supplies needs to be understood for who was saying it and where he was saying it and what the track record of the Mellon Institute was. The Mellon Institute was a leading defender of asbestos for the asbestos industry. Today, industry are facing a tidal wave, a crippling tidal wave of lawsuits from people who have had their health damaged, who've been killed by
thanks, Cinegram. I appreciate
asbestos.
that.
Well, for generations,
hope you
the
get to the
Mellon
point you can read,
Institute produced research that said that mesothelioma was caused by something other than asbestos. That's how you have to understand the fluoride issue. Industry was concerned about fluoride pollution and about lawsuits of a similar magnitude for fluoride pollution. So it's no coincidence that the Mellon Institute makes the first suggestion that fluoride be added to public water supplies. It's quite astonishing, Paul, the degree to which environmentalists have not been educated about fluoride. I'm a reporter. I'm not a scientist or a doctor. I'm quoting documents. I'm citing lawsuits when I refer to fluoride as a major industrial air pollutant. In fact, the leading air pollutant in the aftermath of the Cold War. Those are not my words. That's not my opinion. That's a quantitative assessment by industry experts of the scale of the lawsuits that they were facing.
There you go.
You know, the most notorious air pollution disaster in U.S. history was the Halloween air pollution incident in Donora, Pennsylvania, a mill town south of Pittsburgh, where a couple of dozen people and several thousand were injured because of effluents coming from a U.S. steel plant, which were trapped by a temperature inversion. In the aftermath of those deaths, a researcher, Philip Stadler, a chemist, Philip Stadler, investigated. He did blood analysis and he measured high levels of fluoride in the blood of some of the injured and the deceased. He published that data along with data which found high levels of fluoride in vegetation and a lot of other circumstantial evidence indicating fluoride poisoning. Sadler published his research in Chemical and Engineering News, but the Public Health Service came in and said that fluoride wasn't responsible. It was a mixture of air pollutants and bad weather that had caused the disaster. Well, I uncovered a memo, Paul, a memo from the Aluminum Company of America, in which they had secretly gotten blood from one of the deceased. And their measurements were almost exactly the same measurements that Philip Sadler found. Laundering fluoride's role in the Donora pollution incident is really emblematic for what has happened for the last half century and an accounting for why environmentalists don't know their own history. Donora jump-started the environmental movement, but environmentalists don't know that Donora was almost certainly caused by fluoride.
Interesting.
The book looks very hard at the role of a key scientist, Dr. Harold Hodge, in the fluoride debate. Dr. Harold Hodge, for most of the Cold War, was the leading scientific defender of the safety of low doses of fluoride and the beneficial effects of water fluoridation.
Dr. Harold Hodge, a distinguished toxicologist on the Rochester team, has carefully investigated the safety of fluoridation.
Well, to put it very simply, fluoride is safe at 1 part per million.
No scientist's word was trusted more by the health establishment than Dr. Harold Hodge when it came to fluoride.
Well, he does have a
He was
white coat
senior
on.
figure and operated at the highest levels for almost all his scientific career.
This brings us back to the fundamental point. Fluoride is safe, and I think I can say in conclusion that there is no health hazard that justifies postponing water fluoridation.
Harold Hodge,
there's no
we
excuse
now
for it.
know, was the a co-orchestrator of the human radiation experiments in which citizens in hospitals like Rochester and in Oak Ridge were injected with plutonium by scientists under Harold Hodge's direction.
And there's a whole book written about that.
That's right. We know about Harold Hodge in part because of the work of investigative reporters such as Eileen Welsom, who won a Pulitzer Prize for discovering the names of the people who had been injected with plutonium. Harold Hodge's name surfaced
Back when he had
in that book,
journalism.
and surfaced in the subsequent presidential inquiry into the human radiation experiments. You join the dots.
I can't
If
even
Harold
imagine.
Hodge and the University of Rochester are injecting people with plutonium and uranium, and at the same time they are reassuring us about fluoride safety, what's the connection?
So what was the connection? Harold Hodge was the chief toxicologist of the Manhattan Project, the group of scientists and engineers who developed the atomic bomb in World War II and the early years of the Cold War. Hodge was responsible for investigating the toxicity of many of the chemicals used in the production of the atomic bomb, and one of the chemicals of major concern was fluoride.
The Manhattan Project needed enormous quantities of fluoride to make nuclear weapons to make the bomb that was dropped on Hiroshima. So the Manhattan Project were concerned about fluoride toxicity.
Of course, in Jersey.
The documents that I uncovered with Joel Griffiths in the files of the Manhattan Project and the Atomic Energy Commission are very clear and very explicit. The toxicology department at the University of Rochester, which was under the direction of Harold Hodge, was asked to come up with medical information that could help the government in lawsuits in which the United States Army and the US government were being charged with fluoride pollution.
That's a good idea, Maddie.
As has now been revealed by declassified government documents, the publication of scientific information collected by Atomic Energy Commission scientists such as Harold Hodge that could increase the chance of litigation against the bomb program by workers or downwind communities was forbidden. If water fluoridation was found to be harmful, then the US bomb program, as well as many other fluoride polluting industries, would have been open to massive litigation.
So there's not a hope that Harold Hodge would ever say that water fluoridation was dangerous or that fluoride in small doses was toxic, because if Harold Hodge were to say that, it would have pulled the rug out from under the US Army and from under the project to build nuclear weapons. For people who know the history of medicine and science in this country, you know, the Kettering Laboratory was at one time one of the largest private laboratories dealing with issues of toxicity. It was a very well-funded laboratory, and its director, Robert Kehoe, was a very senior figure in the public health establishment. Today, we know Kehoe's name best for his career-long defense of the safety of adding lead to gasoline. Kehoe spent a professional lifetime from his pulpit at the Kettering Laboratory assuring the nation that lead added to gasoline was entirely safe. Of course, that's been thoroughly discredited. The toll of health injuries, of neurological injuries to children alone from adding lead to gasoline is almost incalculable. And you know, for that, we really can thank Dr. Robert Kehoe. He soldiered on lead's behalf for his professional lifetime, and he did so being paid by the Ethyl Corporation, who were the makers of tetraethyl lead. The same job that Robert Kehoe did laundering lead's image on industry's behalf, he did for fluoride. Kehoe, along with Harold Hodge, was a leading defender of fluoride safety in the workplace, and he also was a leading promoter of water fluoridation.
Robert Kehoe and the Kettering Institute, on behalf of industry and the National Institute of Dental Research, compiled an extensive bibliography of abstracts on fluoride's toxicity and the role of fluoride in public health. This work was funded by Alcoa, the Aluminum Company of Canada, the American Petroleum Institute, DuPont, Kaiser Aluminum, Reynolds Metals, United Steel, and many other corporate sponsors, as well as the National Institute of Dental Research.
If you go into the files of Dr. Robert Kehoe at the Kettering Laboratory, you'll come across the existence of a hitherto unknown entity known as the Fluorine Lawyers Committee. And Kehoe worked for the Fluorine Lawyers Committee at the University of Cincinnati, doing their bidding, providing ammunition to the Fluorine Lawyers Committee so that they could defend their corporate clients, Alcoa, DuPont, Monsanto, the U.S. Steel, against fluoride lawsuits. In Robert Kehoe's files, there is a medical study which was a state-of-the-art $100,000 study in which beagle dogs were given fluoride to breathe in conditions which approximated the
always picking
working
on beagles?
conditions for men and women
Why do
in
they
the
always pick
aluminum
on the beagles?
industry
I don't
or in
know.
any fluoride industry.
What happened to that beagle
I don't
study?
know.
The Beagle study, Paul, found that fluoride was profoundly toxic to the laboratory animals. The beagle dogs who breathed fluoride 6 days a week, just like workers, had stupendous lung damage and damage
good
to
on
their
10
lymph
years.
nodes.
10 years medicine.
You'd think that
Or more.
someone would have
7 years.
given that medical information to America's doctors,
Actually, more
or
like
to
13.
the workers who were going to those doctors asking why they had emphysema. No, the study was given to the Fluorine Lawyers Committee and it was buried. The book makes clear for the first time that the selling of fluoride to the American public was done by the best in the business, by the father of public relations, Edward Bernays. Edward Bernays is Sigmund Freud's nephew, and
There's that guy again. He's always around. I don't ask for that.
Mhm.
Always around. How about that?
he was a Machiavellian genius, small in size, yet cast a towering shadow over the 20th century. Bernays understood that there was a liberal sentiment coursing through the 20th century, and that if you could hitch your commercial wagon to that star, then you could make your clients a lot of money. In 1916, Bernays had suffragettes march in the Easter parade in New York City holding cigarettes as torches of liberty.
Jesus.
And its director, George Hill, who was paying Bernays's salary. Well, my book uncovers correspondence between Bernays and the National Institutes of Dental Research. Bernays was asked to come to Washington by the NIDR to help create their PR campaign to sell fluoride to the nation. Bernays understood that people have an unconscious trust in their doctor or their dentist. And if you can persuade doctors and dentists that fluoride is safe and good, then you're able to reach the rest of the nation. People believe their doctors and dentists, and that was a way of promoting fluoride for Bernays. Very few dentists are aware that the fluoride in public water supplies is not a pharmaceutical grade product. It is in fact an industrial waste. It's the waste from the Florida phosphate industry. In the 1950s, the Florida phosphate industry was being sued by farmers and citizens living near those plants because of the fluoride. It was killing their cattle, destroying their crops. You know, the Florida phosphate industry today is prevented from having to dispose of its industrial effluent in a toxic waste dump by the device of shipping that in tanker trucks around the country and dumping it in our water supply.
How about that, huh? How about that?
That's ridiculous.
Yeah, just saving a buck. We get to be the filters for that mess.
I was just putting
From
something
the
in
beginning,
here.
opposition to fluoride has been.
I'm sorry, what was that?
I was just typing one up because I want them to notice the ones running these studies were the Mellon Institute, which is a subgroup of Carnegie Mellon, and the Kettering Lab, which is related to the Sloan Kettering Cancer Centers. I thought that was interesting.
It is.
Mm-hmm.
Been equated with believing the earth is flat or being against the United Nations. Opposition to fluoride is equated with quackery or paranoia. And in fact, that's really a media smear. In 1950, the public health endorsed water fluoridation. Almost immediately, there was a national movement against fluoride, and that was led by Dr. George Walbot. We should all know George Walbot's name. He was the first physician to warn of the dangers of fatal allergic reaction to penicillin. Walbot.
That guy is a hero. He spoke out. Watch what happens to heroes. But what I want to say that this idea. So when you hear somebody come out with the talking points, oh, it's good for your teeth. Oh, it's nothing. Oh, it's not a big deal, right? You know that they have fallen for and been a victim of, probably at this point, very much handed down disinformation, right? They're in that narrow first veil of perception on this topic right here. And then when you hear that, you can point them in the direction of this documentary, tell them the stuff that you've learned here today, and hopefully that will help shake them up enough that they can snap out of it. It's not a hard one to snap people out of once they realize the history of it and they hear someone intelligent filling in the gaps that, of information they didn't get from the lore, the story, the fable that's been passed around about how great it is.
Was one of the first physicians to warn of the dangers of emphysema from smoking. He saw in his own surgery, in his practice in Detroit, Michigan, that people were coming in with these ailments, unexplained ailments, whether it was back pain or gastric distress, muscle fatigue, headaches, and he figured out that it was low-dose fluoride. That, as with a lot of drugs or chemicals, there's a small subset of people who are uniquely allergic to the chemical, and Walbot realized that it was fluoride, and he performed a whole series of double-blind experiments where people were given some fluoridated water without knowing it, and the symptoms recurred. And very quickly, Walbot's name, rather than being seen as this giant of public health committed to safeguarding public health, somebody who'd warned us about penicillin or tobacco, suddenly George Walbot becomes this marginal fringe figure who is criticized for his opposition to fluoride, and that's something that takes place again and again and again. Speaking out as a doctor or a dentist against fluoride is the third rail. It's fatal to your career. We don't know George Walbot's name because he was smeared by the Public Health Service for his opposition to fluoride. In the 1990s, the senior toxicologist for the EPA's Office of Water said that the cancer tests that had been done on fluoride, where laboratory animals were given fluoride, he said that those results had been gerrymandered, that in fact, the equivocal verdict that fluoride was a carcinogen ought to have been much stronger. He said that fluoride given to rats had produced bone cancer and liver cancer, and that those results had been doctored to make it look as though fluoride hadn't caused as much cancer.
I've been in the toxicology business looking at studies of this nature for nearly 25 years. And I've never seen that. Never ever seen where every single endpoint that was a cancer endpoint had been downgraded. I'd seen one or two endpoints argued over, usually on the definition of what is a cancer in that particular tissue. But I've never seen every one of them downgraded. I found that very suspicious.
Marcus was fired. Dr. William Marcus was fired, and a federal judge ruled that Marcus was fired because of his outspoken opposition to fluoride. The first two chapters of the book relate the story of Dr. Phyllis Mullenix at the Forsyth Dental Institute. She had helped invent a new technology for studying the neurotoxicity of chemicals. It was called the computer pattern recognition system. And in essence, Dr. Mullenix's technology took photographs or video of animals which had been given a chemical in small doses, and then used computers to analyze the patterned behavior or the disruptions to patterned behavior when the animals had been given that chemical. While Mullenix was brought into the Forsyth Dental Research Center to study some of the chemicals used in dentistry, and she was asked to study fluoride. And Phyllis Mullenix said, I'm not wasting my time with fluoride. Fluoride's given to children. It's good for children. It's been around for donkey's years. I'm wasting my time by studying fluoride. But she did as she was ordered. And Phyllis Mullenix found that fluoride in very modest doses produces effects in laboratory animals resembling attention deficit and hyperactivity disorder.
The pattern
Well, you
that
know.
we saw, it
Isn't that
typically is what
interesting?
we see with other neurotoxic agents that are well known to cause a hypoactivity or a memory problem or an IQ problem. When I first presented the results of these studies, one of the individuals sitting and listening to the results, he says, "Do you have any idea what you're saying?" And he says, "You're telling us that we're reducing the IQ of children."
Mhm.
And basically I said, yes.
Mm-hmm. Not just their IQ, their ability to learn.
She went from being an industry-funded, leading neurotoxicologist at a Harvard-affiliated research institute to being a voice in the wilderness. She has not received any grants nor any academic position as a research scientist since her opposition to fluoride was made public.
The Center of Disease Control
About right.
says that water fluoridation is one of the top 10 public health achievements of the 20th century. How can citizens deal with something like that?
Question authority. You know, for years and years and years and years, the public health establishment told us that lead in gasoline was safe. We know today that children's brains were damaged, were injured by the addition of lead to gasoline. You know, the implications of this new documentary evidence, the implications of these buried medical studies, which are now in the public domain as a result of my book, as a result of you know, the medical work that's been done by people like Phyllis Mullenix, the willingness to speak truth of toxicologists like William Marcus, the implications of that research, of these new findings, is that something is terribly, terribly wrong. And we have been led very far astray, and it's time to change. But that change will only come as a result of bravery, as a result of the willingness to invest time. You know, I think it's time to speak up, to speak loudly, to get organized, and to fight for change.
That's about the gist of it, Inya. Study this, but tell us what we want to hear.
%98 of Western Europe has rejected water fluoridation.
Mm-hmm. But not us. They also don't, you know, like pasteurize their eggs, and we do. They don't there's a whole bunch of things that they do healthier than we do. I don't get why the differences are so big just because our politicians are paid off.
Right. So if they can do it, we can do it, right?
Mm.
My cat's meowing in the background here. So yeah. So we say, yep, exactly. Right. So they did. Hey, Crown Target, how you doing, man? Every single time other instances where they were paid off by the companies to find a particular outcome for the products. How about that? That never happened. So this sentence the research can cause damage to the reputations of these products. Because no president or congressman wants to carry the weight of crashing the global economy. Well, would it? Yeah. Well, see, we have alternative products now. And we have ways to combat this, like gravity water filters, which I'll be doing a review on, and I hope to have a affiliate program with at some point, so I can offer discounts to all you guys. because that's how we start doing it. We have to reject it until we can get it out of our supply. We have to filter it out ourselves. And like I've said before, I have filters on everything I can possibly get it on in my house, and I take the time to fill up a container that holds quite a bit of water and filter it, and then use that spigot as my cooking and drinking water. And I've been doing that for over 13 years now. If my calculations are correct. Yes.
And he's a little healthy. I drink from the tap. Look where I'm at. There you go.
Don't drink from the tap.
As I drink from the tap.
Dishwater. Get yourself. I'd rather have you drinking a soda than drinking from the tap, believe it or not. And that's but
I know
yeah.
How you feel about those.
Yep. I don't do those either. But here we go. We'll watch the rest of this. We're gonna watch something on high fructose corn syrup here eventually.
Maddie also brought up possibly looking into like the aluminum for like body products for like
I did see that
stuff like that.
Yeah. So metals aren't good for you. Okay. They make good armor. They make good cars. They make good things that don't go in your body, but they're not good for you. Don't put metals in your body. I got all. Yeah, the fillings I did have, I had replaced. I took any mercury that had been in that had gotten into my mouth from my youth, and I had those all replaced. In fact, I have a story about it. I went to a dentist one time. It's a new dentist. I specifically said don't put mercury in the fillings, and they did. I went back and had them redo it.
Wow.
Yeah. So I'm very serious about keeping metals out of my body. That's another reason why I filter my water, and I take all the precautions I possibly can to make sure that they don't actually get in. And so the benefit of that is my son's never had any exposure to any of these things. He doesn't have ADD, he doesn't have any kind of learning disabilities or problems, and he's healthy as a horse. He kicks viruses and colds and stuff like that. He kicks them within 24 hours usually. He's an amazing, healthy kid.
Anyways, amazing.
Yeah, he's quite the machine. But let me let's finish this up and then we can talk some more. All right. So that wasn't very much more to watch. All right. Great documentary, guys. The Fluoride Deception. I'm gonna throw the link in the chat for you guys to bookmark. Go ahead and check it out.
Every time you do a stream or we have a conversation, I wind up with a shopping list. How does that work?
Hopefully everybody does. Crowd Target says, even back in the day, metal armor was not worn on bare skin. You would have fabric padding and other clothes in between. Great point.
That is a great point.
When you see the origin story of this fluoridation of water, right? It really makes you look at it in a different light. Like it's one of those things that throughout your life it could be a passing thought, right? But I guarantee you, anybody who sees this information will think twice about drinking from a water fountain, out of a hose, out of the sink. And though gravity filters are a little bit pricey, and I hope to get a discount for you guys, hang in there. I've already called the place once, left a message, so I'm going to call back, and I will have a setup to a little storefront or affiliate link or something soon for these water filters for you guys. I promise you that. I'll always keep my promises. So yeah, so it's a big deal, and like I said, I thought we were well on our way to taking care of this. Hey Tony, what's up? I thought we were well on our way to taking care of this, but it slipped through the cracks again. It things come up, and it kind of falls off the radar, and you think things have momentum, and then it kind of just fizzles out. I don't hear anything about today, but we do need to start pushing back, especially on our local politicians, to get this back on the platform, back on the agenda, right? There's no excuse in the world for this to be happening, and it's unconstitutional. The government, the U.S. government, the state governments are not allowed to force medicate the public. It is highly illegal. It's highly unconstitutional. It's a violation of our rights, and there's no place for it in a civilized society. And if most of the world can reject it, so can we. So let's get busy, guys. Let's this is part of solution culture right here, pushing back on things like this that are harming us, that we can actually, and actually it is in our hands. It is our responsibility to push back on this stuff. But otherwise, they'll keep shoveling it into us day after day after day. So let's
Why would
let's
they
get doing
change?
it. Well, of course, they're going to make the money off of it, or
Yeah.
whatever their benefit they're getting from it. Some people could say there's more benefits than this profit, but I agree. There probably are.
But you ever wonder how they always say that we're going to run out of water, we're going to run out of water, and everybody's like, "What are you talking about? We have all these like huge water basins, and there's no lack of like drinking water." What if this is something that they're just keeping like, okay, we'll just let them talk the narrative, but later when we want to tell them the truth to stop drinking the water because we have something else in mind, then that comes up. I know it's a little conspiracy-ish, but they've been doing that. They hold it until last minute and then go, "Oh, by the way," and then that's gone. Like they take
Right.
away that resource and that resource. And I just
Well, they
wonder if
did.
this is like something like that.
It's just if we don't push back on it, they won't do anything about it, and that's the thing. We did get rid of leaded gasoline. There's no leaded gasoline anymore,
Mm-hmm.
right?
That's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm.
We replaced all our huge underground tanks when we switched over to unleaded.
Mm-hmm.
But even my last year of teaching in the school, we were still finding lead in the drinking water. And they wouldn't shut down the fountains, all of them. They would only shut down the fountains that quote unquote tested positive for traces of lead. And it was like, okay, but it's not coming from the fountain itself. It's coming from the piping and the water going through the school. And they weren't going to replace all the piping. They just shut down the fountain and told the kids,
Mm-hmm.
bring water from home. And where
Yeah.
did they refill them? They refilled them in the bathrooms because, of course, they'd run out of water, and that was worse. So it was like,
Nope.
what are we doing?
I specifically have taught my son from the beginning never to drink out of a water fountain. He always had his own drinks. We always bought our own water. If it wasn't filled up out of the gravity filter, it was reverse osmosis and BPA free bottles. All right.
Okay.
So I go whenever someone else's house, he had his own drinks. He had his own snacks. He always carried his own stuff with him. That's the way that you keep it out of your kids, keep them healthy. That's how I did it, at least. It's all you can do in this day and age. And people may look at you weird, but it's like, I don't tell you how to raise your kids. You don't tell me how to raise mine. We'll get along just fine. Winning. Not being asked, generally curious, what is your argument for forced medication being unconstitutional? Technically speaking, I don't know if there's any case law stating that there are amendments. I'll look it up for you, dude. There's definitely at least legislation that says that they're not allowed to force medicate us. Would you push back on the fact that it's a violation of our rights? Because it's not done by consent. Now, this is a manufacturer consent through basically apathy, through basically going along with the program. But no one ever voted to have this stuff put into our water. No one ever decided. The public never spoke on this. It was just done.
But they're also dosing arbitrarily. Like you don't know what it's going to do to a baby or an elderly person or somebody with different types of maladies. You're leaving it up to them. Well, your intake of water is up to you. Everybody gets the same dosage per unit or whatever. It depends on how many units you take in. But then they tell us to drink at least 8 glasses of water a day, if not more, for our health. So that's kind of contradictory, I would think.
No, that it contradicts parental rights. That's the big
does.
thing about any kind of forced medication, forced whatever, right? When you have to understand that affects the kids too. So if they're deciding it for your kids, then you don't have parental rights.
I mean, even when I used formula, I still used spring water. I used the bottled water because I didn't want to have to like boil, pot after pot after pot of water, because when they're babies, you're always making formula. But yeah, no, I was afraid to give my kids water when they were little, and I don't know, that just kind of petered off. Like, I don't know, I guess life gets busy. Other things take precedence if you're, a little overwhelmed. I just didn't concentrate on the water anymore. I knew there were issues, but kind of fell by the wayside for both of them once they hit like 2. Winning.
Yep. I'm sorry, I was just reading some stuff on the side here. See, I completely agree with you, by the way, and it's certainly unlawful. It's essentially the argument for constitutionality. Well, I would think it would violate your constitutional rights. Rabbit, how you doing?
Hey, Rabbit.
I'm sorry. You finish the rest of that. Need to know what arguments to fight the commies. yeah, we'll work on that. And when it comes to well water too, I see there's some comments on well. Alright, you don't have gas stations in hometowns that had tank leaks. MTBE got into the water table around here a few decades back, late 90s. So yeah, I grew up with a well, not city water. It's a nice difference. It is. It's better for sure. Now the problem with well water is you have to worry about runoffs from pesticides, right, and things like that. So in this day and age, while we have all these corporations and other entities running around doing as they please, it's best if we are as cautious and as proactive as we possibly can be. And that has to do with just taking your health into your hands. Oh, good. Well, welcome. Happy to have you here. As you can see, T3's up here with me, so we're happy to have the world's greatest mod in the house.
Yes.
All right. So that is water fluoridation, and that is the fluoride deception. So let me
yeah, and if you're dependent on the EPA to like save you from like ground contamination, don't, because they're just, trust me when I tell you, they can be directed to certain places to test, and they will happily do that for a small fee.
All right, so we've talked about water, and now we're going to move on to food. Now, to understand the food issue, we have to understand how food is grown and made and what's going on in the farming industry. Of course, all food starts with a seed or an animal that eats, probably more likely plants that come from seeds. So this documentary was made in 2012. Now there's some older ones, but I thought this one, I reviewed like 4 of them. I thought this was the best representation for our show tonight, and we'll give you the best information with the latest news and the coolest kind of graphics and stuff like that, so you can really get an idea of what's going on. Just a briefly, I'm not gonna read the whole thing, but briefly, every single independent study conducted on the impact of genetically modified food shows that it damages organs, it causes infertility, it causes immune system failure, it causes holes in the GI tract, and it causes multiple organ system failures. This is a documentary called Seeds of Death, and this is the opinion of the documentary. The whole concept of genetically modified organisms is throwing a monkey wrench into the life of in the life on this planet, right? So some of the things is that the reason why they have 170 million acres of genetically modified engineered corn, soybeans, cotton, canola oils, and sugar beets in the U.S. Sugar beets is used to make high fructose corn syrup, by the way, which is in sodas. So drinking sodas, you're drinking genetically modified, most likely, sugar beets. In the United States, because it doesn't have to be labeled. Now today, this is like 2012, because we pushed back, because we cared, things are now labeled. Now we have a choice of food, but it doesn't mean that it's not affecting the food supply itself. And this is why we need to make the choices and vote with our dollars as to what we consume. The fact that so many people got behind the organic food movement is why the prices have come down and why there's so many great choices out there now. And I'll tell you that organic food tastes better than GMO food by a long shot. And I'll talk a little bit at the end about how you can move to that lifestyle if you want, and we'll compare some prices and we'll do some stuff like that. I'll tell my stories about it. I started little by little, one by one. Of course, I went with the kids' food first. So peanut butter and jellies and Of course, anything that would go in his body got the organic food first, and I slowly turned the entire house into organic food. And I know there's people out there that pish posh and tish tosh and turn their noses up and be like, oh, it's just but that's they can do what they want to with their health. I'll do what I want to with mine. I think it's a little short-sighted and a little arrogant not to at least consider the information. I hope you will consider the information with us tonight. As this documentary is very eye-opening, and I hope you learn a lot from it. So, if you guys are ready.
Target. Wait, Crown Target. Did you see what he wrote to Maddie? Look
What
at
did he
him
write?
bringing all your shows together.
What do we say? Yep, there are no perfect solutions or
Go ahead.
trade-offs. You tried to pick the best with the least drawback. Thomas Sowell summarized. Yes. Awesome.
I thought that was cute. That was
It
nice,
is.
man. Good one.
Exactly. Indeed, your body, your choice. There you go. You can get heirloom seeds, cost more, but are not modified. Absolutely. Heirloom seeds are easy. You can definitely get those, and those last a long time. They have some interesting heirloom seeds too. There's some different vegetables out there you probably don't even know are out there, like different colored corns and potatoes and stuff. It's wild stuff. And for those who grow for their own food, which is a great way to do it. Those are great. Those heirloom seeds are awesome. All right, guys, you ready? All right. Hopefully you've had time to jump up and refill your drinks and your snacks or take a quick restroom break. But we are getting ready to roll here. And here we go. And yep, I remember that was a big deal too. Like I remember what a big deal this was. We all made so much noise about it. And of course, everybody on the left ignored the hell out of it because brainwashing and stuff. But yeah, this guy, I mean, they would, in one hand, they'd say they didn't like this stuff and they'd speak out against it. The other hand, they'd vote for it. And of course, then from this came Rewatch Crew. Have I told you I love you lately? I do. Thank you so much for watching this on your own time. We appreciate you coming back and watching it. It's important information. And if you are on the Rewatch Crew, let me know in the comments so I can give you some love. And please hit that thumbs up for us. Thank you. And here we go.
The company is motivated.
Grow your own food. Apartment dwellers can use containers. That's true. Absolutely. Make the effort. When you grow your own food and you eat clean food, or you clean your own water or anything like that, it tastes better. You feel better. It's a great experience. I'll tell you more about it at the end, but it really is a great experience. And Rabbit, thank you so much for being a member of the Winner Circle for 3 months. We love you here. Thank you again.
Check your stream strength. Your stream health, whatever the hell it is. Stream unavailable.
Hey, Rumble, what's up? I know we're stalling over here. We're having some technical difficulties on YouTube side because they suck ass. But guess what? Everybody's getting ready to come join us over here on the Rumble side. So hang tight. We're going to give everybody time to catch up with us over here. And then we'll be Rumble exclusive. Had I known this is gonna happen, I probably would have done this from the start. But it's okay. I'm ready. I'm willing to fight the beast, man. See, they don't want people knowing this information. Yeah. Let's see, who does it belong to that they think that I'm gonna go to let's go to this one right here. Stop. Freely give to truth. It's on YouTube. We're literally watching this on YouTube, and we're literally watching this on YouTube. We back yet? Let's see.
No.
Okay.
No,
I'm going to show this. We're literally watching it on YouTube. Hold on. Do I need to bring this? I think I might. Okay. Yeah, that should do it right there. We're literally watching this on YouTube. Rumble. Hey, Crown Target. What's up, Jacob Peets? How's it going? Everybody come on over. Hey, Caitlin. We're literally watching this on YouTube. I mean, who's this guy? Really? Unveiling the transcripts. Let's see. So this was put up in 2013 by somebody. It has 100. Yeah. Yeah, so there's no problems over here when this person has it.
Mhm.
Interesting. I'll be appealing this.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Yeah.
They're
Send me a
cracking down.
viewer website. WGBestDeals.com. Oh my God. What is that? I'm just checking out the people that are, and let everybody get over here from Rumble. Hey, are we back up yet? Not yet. I DM'd you on Discord. Okay. Robert DM'd us on Discord.
Yeah.
Okay, we're back up
Okay,
on
yeah, we're back up.
Hey guys, we're gonna watch this on Rumble, but it's so funny because I'm literally watching a YouTube video. It's a YouTube video channel the same size as mine, so you know they didn't make this.
Yeah, no. There's no way.
I don't know. Yeah, they got all kinds of documentaries like this on here. Unveiling the lies of GMOs. Yes, they have all kinds of stuff on here. So I don't know. That's really strange. That was unexpected. But we'll continue watching this over on Rumble. So guys, can y'all come up? Can y'all join us? Do we throw the link to Rumble out there? Here, I'm gonna do it right now. This is live on here.
It's already out.
Here.
Rabbit put it.
Oh, is it? Oh, thank you, Rabbit. Awesome. Hope everybody's joining us over here on Rumble. And we'll be keeping an eye on the chat and Rumble, because obviously it's not going to populate here in the StreamYards that we're in. So, guys, let's head on over and keep the party rolling. YouTube, piss off.
This is a friendship battle.